And good morning, everyone. I'm Ying Yang from University of Manchester. Thank you for coming. And today my presentation is around a reflection of my PhD research experiences and sparking resonance, sympathy, and commitment with our research participants. My PhD research look at the role of education agents in the marketized international higher education sector. So I think it's very necessary to have a brief introduction of the background and some terms in my research. Education agents. I use BULA's definition 2021. They are a person or organization that recruits international students and refers them to education providers. They are not employed by overseas education providers, but are private entities contracted to deliver a range of services to potential students and the provider. To a student, these services would include education counseling, such as course and institution matching, and assistance with academic and visa applications. To a provider, services usually include marketing and promoting services and support in identifying qualified students. And for Chinese students, in the past 3 years, UK has become a top choice of their potential destination country. In this kind of context, this study shed light on Chinese Asian user students. They are students who use education agents to apply for overseas programs. According to a local market report in China, Chinese students, it has been estimated that 90% of Chinese students use education agents to apply for programs overseas. So in this kind of context, actually this is part of my PhD. I divided my PhD project into 2 studies. Study 2, this is a study 2-1, it's collecting students' voices, reflecting on their application experiences. The research questions are what were Chinese Asian user students' experiences like? The second question is about how do students, Chinese Asian user students perceive the role of education agents in their application process. There were 10 Chinese Asian user students involved in this study, and I used interpretative phenomenological analysis approach to design this study. And there were 4 rounds of online interviews from November 2020 to July 2021. And the member tracking was undertaken in the following year from May 2022 to July 2022. Yeah. Today we're going to, the presentation focuses on why I chose IPA and the data correction part, because IPA actually for me is a kind of long story, very complicated methodologies. A lot of details need to develop deep consideration. So there's actually no time for me to detail these, the whole process. Okay, and first question is about why I chose IPA. That is closely related to my background. This study was grounded in my empirical knowledge of a triad of roles in the past, including education agents, agent consultants, international students pursue MA education in the UK, as well as a student affairs administrator in China, higher education system. And as a prior education agent consultant, I was trained to be very sensitive and responsive to participants or potential consumers' accounts. That is a kind of the nature of the consultant role, because they need to spot what the potential consumers' needs, concerns, which help us to better serve their or cater to their expectations. So because of this kind of disposition, I was so cautious about what potential methodologies help me mitigate these kind of personal impact or the impact of my prior or tacit knowledge of the potential participants. So before, in the course of considering the choice of the potential methodologies, I have several questions questioning myself. How could I diminish the effect of my preconceptions of students' choice making? As a prior agent consultant, I heard and listened to lots of stories or consumers from various social classes in China. So for me, I have some pre-assumptions of particular people. When we just start conversations, their body language is dressing code or some terms, it's quite easy for me to identify the particular categories of the consumers or students. So I'm so concerned about this part. And how could I retain participants' voices at the largest length? And how could I capture a holistic picture of students' application experience? For me, application is a kind of a complicated, dynamic, long-term process. For students, for me as well. In the past, in most cases, we should track the student as a prior consumer. I should track the students' application experiences at least 1 year. It means lots of students approach education agents quite early or in the very beginning of their application season. During this application season, I should have very close conversation or interactions with them, just in case that they were not satisfied with these kind of services. They would have some like service complaints, this kind of thing. We want to get their cases done, and then we can get money, right? As a prior Asian consultant. And the second question is about how, the third is about, I want to see the changes, because I know it's a long-term process. I was quite clear, student at different points, before this study, I was quite clear, students at different time points of their application process, they have different needs, expectations, and concerns or challenges. So how could I capture these kind of changes through doing research? How could I get familiarity of with the research context and population? Because I was not in that field. I was a little bit concerned about my prior information or knowledge was a little bit out of date. So I need to be familiar with the up-to-date information over the field. So these kind of questions push me to think about those methods, data collection, to methodology, and how to frame the research questions. IPA interpretive phenomenological analysis will contribute to mitigate these kind of potential impact. First of all, IPA has three philosophical underpinnings, which really fascinate me. First, about phenomenology, which explore what experiences of being human is like and how we may come to understand what our experiences of the world are like. Okay, that exactly resonates with my research question because I want to know their experiences. The second is hermeneutics. This one really fascinating because it involves two hermeneutics, right? Hermeneutics. where the participant is trying to make sense of his or her personal and social world, while the researcher who is influenced by his or her own contextual position in the world is making sense of the participant's interpretation process. For me, my concern is whether I pre-assume or over-interpret participants' experiences. IPA pushed me to think how the participant considered about their experiences, and build on this, I try to interpret how the participant interprets their own experiences. And the third one is ideography, because it is faithful to the particular, which determines the sample size should be small. What does that mean? It means that I should focus on small size of the people and pay great attention to the particular context, personal context, have better understanding of their personalities, their personal experiences, context, and build on this, try to interpret their accounts. Because I was so concerned that I have some assumptions of their of certain meanings. So in order to avoid that, I think presentation of their interpretation before interpreting their meaning, I should have a good understanding of this person, and then I may get close to their personal context and try to combine two contexts together. I mean, the researchers and participants' context. So meaning making should build on the participants' accounts and voices. In this logic, I focus on over the course of data collection, I focus on these three questions. What do Chinese Asian user students' university experiences look like, and how they interpret their own experiences? And then how I interpret how those students interpret their own experiences. I was very selective about the participants because I really want to know the in-depth context of the participants. So I before during in a stage of participants recruitment, I cared about whether the authentic interest in this project, whether the participant authentically feel interested in this project. Why I have this concern, that is really because when I went back to China to approach the potential participants, some feedbacks or reactions gave me this kind of feeling. First, some potential participants overemphasize rewards or hold a money-driven intention before engagement. Because in China now there's a huge number of surveys research around students. So a lot of students are actually being over-researched. It means that students get tired of this kind of invitation. So their intention or effective incentives should be money-driven. Some of them, the first question to me is how much money you will pay, rather than what topic are we going to discuss, which made me so disappointed. This is the culture and current increasing conventional behaviors about recruiting participants. So I think it's very necessary to question the reality, the credibility of the data now. And the second is about students' time. The potential participants are super busy, incredibly busy with their work. Because my participants is about prospective Chinese international students. It means that most of them actually were around their fourth year. They are busy with job hunting, graduation stuff, and thesis, while they should invest so much time on these kind of projects. And so what I'm doing is going back to China to get familiar with the research context in China, because that is the COVID-19 period. I really want to understand how these kinds of physical contexts impact students' mental, students' thinking or the choices. While I had to conduct interviews online, but I still think it's very necessary for researchers throw themselves into the field to sense, to feel the potential physical context, which may help us to better understanding our potential participants' intention or behaviors. And the second is about development of the recruitment of advertisement. For me, it's a great way to sense out what the potential participants expect. Because in the first version of my poster, I actually didn't indicate any reward. And interesting thing is nobody approached me. And I was so shocked because I throw through this kind of poster to the people I feel they would be interested in, because my identity as a kind of a prior agent consultant. Maybe people are interested in these kind of discussions, maybe want to get something from me. And I frame myself as a kind of, not just a PhD student, maybe they're interested in PhD application, this kind of thing. I think my identity is a kind of a viewer for learn to approach me or consult me about application stuff. But the interesting thing is nobody do that. And I consult several colleagues prior colleagues in the system. They directly point out that because you didn't show anything like money, how much money they will get, what kind of rewards they will get. I feel shocked because I feel why students so fascinated with these kind of rewards. Several feedbacks are so fascinated because they are they were being over researched, they are tired, and the time is so precious for them. And the third is about the establishment of the first contact. And I took my prior colleagues' suggestions and revised the poster and sent it out again. I found finally around 36 students approached me within, I think, 5 days. It means a lot to me and feel so shocked. I was afraid that those participants just cared about money, and because I didn't indicate the amount of money, but just say it's a big surprise or something. So I found around 10 students. The first question to me is how much money you will pay. And kept asking me something about my PhD application experiences. When I try to pose some questions about their interest in engaging these projects, they try to avoid that and just skip over my question and ask their own questions. It's very obvious for me that you just care about money. You just want to get something from me and you actually don't have any interest in my project. Sorry, I actually don't have much time to go. Okay, let me go to, so for me, selecting real participants who are interested in the project topic, willing to invest time is a premise of stimulating resonance, sympathy, and commitment. And then open, close, and reflective interview questions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what I want to highlight today is effective return. It seems as a researcher, we try to, it's a kind of one-way gaining, why we want to get something from our participants. It's fair for our participants, whether they can get some return from us. Don't say, well, we'll offer some vouchers. For them, time, as a human being, we are saying time is precious. Do you think voucher equals to time, the value of time? And for me, in this project, what I learned most is about pay great attention to the effective return, how to fairly treat our participants and how to combine these two, how to open their heart and open our participants and ourselves hearts and try to conduct a kind of conduit between the two parties, participants and the researchers is super important. And in the end of this project, I was so resonated with their challenges and concerns over the course of applications and feel that I should go ahead with the research around this topic, around international student recruitment, especially educational inequality in access to international higher education. That is really because I was touched by their voices. Why I have strong emotions, that is, I strongly feel they started to trust me. They started to express as much as possible their concern, their challenges. And I tried to, actually in each interview, I set a specific section called Q&A. That section has nothing to do with my research, but I want to create a space and time for learn as a return to express what they want from and what I can help from them. I think it's a kind of fair return because they invest time from me. I should do that as well. These kinds of fair treatment between us make us really enhance our relationship. That is the real record between participants and researchers. Rather than, so that is why I actually personally prefer to do something like these kind of interactions rather than using other tools. Because for me, other tools for me is a kind of detachment from the participants. I think the first step is should build or create the kind of interaction, communications, how to say that, through conversations. This is a direct conversation, direct interaction. I can build up them. They can build me as well. These kind of resonances help us to move, to push, to make our project forward. Thank you very much. Sorry, I don't have much time.